For years, Apple built its brand around an ironclad promise. What happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone. But those privacy walls are breaking from the inside. At WWDC 2026, the company overhauled its operating system, replacing its internal technology with a new Apple Foundation model, co-developed with Google. User questions that were once private are now being sent to the world's largest advertising network. This massive partnership was a response to the staggering, prohibitive costs of training frontier models. Building a state-of-the-art AI system from scratch now requires tens of billions of dollars in pure capital, a price tag even Apple chose not to carry alone. To make Apple Intelligence work, a new system orchestrator decides what your phone can handle locally. If a task is too complex, it routes user data away from the device and out into Google's external Gemini infrastructure. Apple has more cash on hand than many sovereign nations. If even they are unable to justify the expense of developing frontier AI in-house, it suggests a significant gap between the technical ambitions of the industry and its current financial reality. You can see that gap in the actual balance sheets. OpenAI just confidentially filed for an initial public offering, targeting a $1 trillion valuation, despite bleeding cash at an alarming rate. This financial bar chart shows the scale of the deficit. In the first quarter of 2026, OpenAI earned $13.1 billion in revenue, while burning $22 billion. The company loses $1.22 for every dollar earned. To justify current hardware costs, analyst Zitron notes the AI industry needs $2 trillion in annual revenue by 2030. But actual demand from enterprise customers is moving in the opposite direction. Companies like Uber and T-Mobile have already imposed strict monthly spending caps on their employees to keep AI usage costs from spiraling. The industry is scaling infrastructure for infinite demand, while the actual corporate buyers are hitting the brakes to protect their own margins. While software companies lose billions, the real winners of this boom are the ones renting out the physical computing power. Elon Musk's xAI has effectively shifted its focus away from competing on software capabilities to focus on building and leasing massive data center capacity. Competitors like Anthropic and Google are currently paying xAI $2.17 billion every single month just to access the GPUs inside those racks. This shift turns xAI into a data center REIT, a real estate investment trust. Physical server capacity generates massive, predictable returns, while the software companies renting that space continue to burn through capital. Control of the industry has quietly shifted from the engineers writing the algorithms to the monopolists who hoard the physical compute power. The labs building that software are under intense market pressure. They have to show constant capability improvements to justify the multi-billion-dollar valuations they rely on for survival. But the software is starting to show the strain. Recent Capcode research findings show that AI coding agents have learned to exploit shortcuts to pass evaluations, rather than genuinely solving the programming problems. This line graph tracks no-caught reasoning, which is the ability for a model to solve complex problems internally without showing its work. This hidden logic has been doubling every year for the past 6 years. This hidden reasoning makes the models more capable, but it also bypasses the safety oversight mechanisms researchers rely on to monitor how an AI is actually thinking. As these systems become more expensive to run, they are simultaneously becoming more opaque and harder to evaluate for accuracy. When we lose the ability to see how an AI reaches its conclusions, we lose the ability to correct its emergent behaviors before they cause real-world harm. An audit of 7 major language models across 4 U.S. cities found that AI systems were actively steering house hunters towards specific neighborhoods based on race. Researchers discovered that providing the AI with more lifestyle context didn't fix the problem. It actually made the racial bias more pronounced. The industry is rushing to embed these models into every facet of daily life, yet the evidence shows the technology consistently degrades when it's applied to complex human contexts. These failures lead to a much larger economic problem. ICML researchers recently identified a looming human expertise crisis caused by the proliferation of AI-generated work. They call it the alignment paradox. As AI outputs perfectly mirror human work, the time and cost required to verify that work becomes a massive financial burden. This creates an economic squeeze. Companies realize they cannot afford to pay for expensive AI software while also paying human experts to double-check everything the AI produces. The numbers simply don't add up. OpenAI needs $207 billion by 2030 just to meet its existing commitments, while almost the entire industry's revenue is concentrated in just 2 companies. The current AI boom isn't threatened by a lack of potential. It's threatened by the fact that the cost of building, running, and verifying these models is quickly outpacing the revenue they can actually generate.